Welcome to Martin Monday's Intentional Intimacy, where love, life, and legacy meet in the moments that matter most. Every week, I will share sacred reflections of my 30-year marriage before Martin's passing, as well as our life now without him. May these reflections help us live with more weight, warmth, and wisdom. Martin was a letter carrier by profession, but a life carrier by purpose. So let's take a moment and let intentional intimacy speak. Well, hello, family and friends. Welcome to this edition of Martin Mondays. This is episode 15. You can do hard things. So, welcome to this segment. This is where we begin to talk about, I guess, probably when Martin really started saying, wow, his signature phrase. We're going to want to tell the story of MJ's birth. MJ is our oldest son, named after his father, Martin Hollis Jr. And I think it's just an interesting story. So let's dive right in. I'll tell you the story of MJ's birth. Now, remember, if you recall, MJ was not a planned child. I'm in my first year of grad school, and I really wasn't planning on having any children yet. But by God's divine providence, He wanted MJ to be here for such a time as then and is now. And so it was kind of interesting because, like, literally, I'm going through my first year of grad school classes and different things, trying to navigate and do the best that I can. And I'll never forget, I submitted my last paper, my last assignment, my last final on a Friday. That Sunday, we had a big event at church. It was like Men's and Women's Day. And my family threw me a surprise surprise baby shower after that service. And so, it was like a lot of fanfare and activity, and it was just a lot for me. I couldn't really eat. My stomach was just in knots, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And so then that Monday was the 18th of May. And Martin and I was due, I think, like that next week, right? And so I was still a little early. And Martin and I were supposed to go to a Winans concert. It was like the Winans reunion concert. And all the Winans were going to be there. Anybody knows me, I love the Winans. And so, we were supposed to go to this big concert. We had great seats and everything. And so we were supposed to go to that Monday night. So I had to go to the doctor that Monday because in carrying MJ, my amniotic fluid was oftentimes low. And so I also could not feel him moving because the placenta was frontal. So I used to have to go like 3 times a week to get a non-stress test to make sure that all was well, that he was moving in there, because I couldn't go by kicks or counts or anything like that because I couldn't feel anything. And so here it is. It's this Monday morning now. Martin was like, take the car. I'm like, no, you take the car. He's like, no, you take the car, go to the doctor's office, do whatever. So I took the car, went to the doctor's office. I had gotten up that morning. I still felt a little queasy. I didn't eat anything. And so I go to the doctor, they do the non-stress test, everything's squared away, and they come back and they're like, Mrs. Hollis, your amniotic fluid is a little low. And they're like, what we're going to do is, since you're due next week and your amniotic fluid is getting a little low, we don't want your blood pressure to spike or anything like that. We're going to induce you. So I'm like, oh, induce me? They're like, yes, we're going to induce labor. And so I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, well, how long is that going to take? Because, I'm getting a little hungry. I hadn't eaten. All right. And they're like, well, it could take, a good number of hours. And at this point, you can't have anything to eat other than ice chips. So I'm like, okay, well, let's just get this started. Let's just get this out of the way. So I called Martin and I let him know, hey, they're going to keep me now. He's like, oh, really? He's like, we don't have your bag and we don't have this. He's like, all right, we'll get situated, and get everything. And so I'll get there as soon as I can and get a ride to the hospital. So when Martin comes in to the hospital, because he didn't eat his lunch, he didn't do anything. He comes in with his hoagie that is smelling so, so good. And I'm like, bruh, I can't eat that. You need to take that. You're not welcome up in here. Yeah, you the father of the child, but you're not welcome up in here. You got to go with that sandwich. That's not going to work. So Martin was like, okay. So he went out, tried to say, he's like, well, if you're not eating, I'm not eating either. So then he wouldn't eat a sandwich. He just, took it out. And so here we are in labor and delivery. And it was rough because all I had with MJ was back labor. I never felt anything in the front. Like I said, the placenta was frontal. And Martin could see the monitor and he could see baby a contraction. I would feel it as back pain and I would get it like delayed, right? And so it just was bad. So needless to say, after 19 hours of pure natural childbirth, I had no intervention or any type of support or aid. MJ was born on that Tuesday, May 19th. So I didn't get to see the whinings. I didn't get to eat. I didn't get to do anything. So I was kind of like not happy about all that. But it was such joy when I saw this baby. I counted his fingers, counted his toes, looked them all over and everything. And I remember it was like halfway between breakfast and lunch. And I was like, okay, he's perfect now. Can I have something to eat? And they were like, not really. They were like, all right, we'll try to find you something. I'm like, listen, I can't wait till lunchtime. But anyway, case, we had this joy now. After all that pain, after all that anguish, after all that difficulty, we were then able to enjoy this beautiful, healthy baby boy. And so I'm going to reflect a little bit more on the other side. So let's reflect. So I titled this, You Can Do Hard Things, because I did a hard thing. I birthed a child, natural childbirth, no medicine, difficulty, tired, hungry. But I did it. I can do hard things. And when it was over, there was such a joy, there was such a peace. And literally, Martin, he just simply looked at me, he looked at our child, and he said what became his infamous phrase. Wow. That's all he could say. He couldn't say anything else. And later, when I got him to talk about it, like, well, what was the wow? He's just like the whole birth process, how you did things and, how you navigated it. He's like, just the everything. Like, he just was blown away, and in the wow of all. And I titled this because the thing that got me through it ultimately was my husband's encouragement. He was a huge cheerleader through the entire process. Babe, you can do this. And he just kept telling me and putting his fist in my back to try to make my back feel better. And so the whole point of this reflection and the whole point of this lesson is to encourage you. What are some things in your life where it may be difficult right now? It may be a season of birthing. It may be a season of pruning. It may be a season of stretching, and it might feel difficult. And it might feel that like you can't do it. And I just want to encourage you and let you know that you can do hard things. And yes, it may seem very difficult now, and it may very well be difficult now, but you can overcome and you can make it, right? And so be encouraged in that and know that what you're going through right now is temporary, will not last forever, and there will be joy on the other side. The other aspect of this reflection that I'd like to share is, where are you being a cheerleader for someone else? And is there someone in your life that you know that you can be a cheerleader for, and that you can encourage them in their journey as well? And so, yes, I want to encourage you. Secondly, I want to admonish you to encourage someone else. And thirdly, I want you to live in those wow moments. What is happening now that takes your all and takes your breath away and makes you simply say, wow? Think about that in your life. And may you have those wow moments, those moments that just seem to floor you and leave you speechless, right? This is truly what the goodness of God looks like. And so be encouraged. Thanks be unto God who always causes us to win. Thanks be unto God who always causes us to triumph. We can do all things through him, not in our own strength, because our own strength is not sufficient. But I want you to be encouraged that you can do hard things. And I want you to encourage someone else that they too can do hard things for the glory of God and the good of others. Catch you next time. Bye. Martin Mondays continues on Tuesday with the Tuesday tea. Check it out and join me and take a sip. You know, Martin used to say a lot of things. Some were funny, some were wise, but one thing he often said was, wow. Wow. Just those 3 letters. It spoke volumes. It meant a lot. When he didn't know what to say, wow. When he was excited about something, wow. When he was confused, perhaps, or even frustrated, he said, wow. And you know, he's still saying wow. Through this bracelet, he's still saying wow, because he's still saying, may your whole life prove that God is good. And so in closing, that's my hope for you this week. May you have wow moments as you too are living out legacy. Live in the wow. Live in the reality of knowing that your whole life is good. Live in the heartbeat of Martin Mondays and intentional intimacy. May that anchor you in this week as you build legacy, one wow, one moment at a time. See you next week.